To me, one of the most important aspects of business are finances. And finances, unfortunately, is always going to be a tricky topic to discuss because money is involved, and let's just be honest, that is stressful to a lot of people. In order to remedy this, I've created what I believe is called a master list. The master list has everything and everything within it. I'm going to be able to show you exactly how I use the Weather Vane, Free Ideas, Penji, all of those things. They all have their own master list. And it's basically how I run all of these organizations. I do it directly through Google Sheet. It's also more or less replicated directly within Notion. And let me show you on my computer screen a little bit more about how I use the financial aspects and the master list.
Here's a little bit more about the master list. I'll go in a little bit more depth about another scenario and how to use it, but I wanted to kind of just take this time to kind of share more about what the master list is and then the finances piece. I have, in full transparency, I do have another sheet that actually has numbers, so I kind of had to erase all the numbers and the things like that, so that way, the whole world doesn't necessarily see my finances and the situation and things like that. However, I think this can act as a really good template in order for you to understand your finances and everything else like that. So obviously you have income and expenses, you have account balances, and you have credit card expenses. This is for the most part like all of the pending for the month. So I usually review everything on the first of every month, the last of every month to prepare for the first of the month. And I'll go through and I'll kind of edit the CC expenses. So put all of my credit cards directly here in this red. And then, of course, the total money in terms of account balances. Also, when it comes to debt, I'll have the specific category and then the amount. Now, this right here in particular is actually all the different streams of income that, I or the business ultimately receives. So although it says card 1, card 2, card 3, that's not necessarily what it means, but we'll just change it to stream 1, right? So these are all the different streams of income. Let's just assume for the sake of this conversation, it is 8 streams of income. I'll put all the streams here so then that way I know what it is that I'm making from a revenue standpoint for myself and for the business. From there, this right here is more or less like what my budget is. Now, when I say budget, it's basically what is going out that's like 100% guaranteed to leave the business. Or my personal. So it could be like a subscription of some sorts, or it could be like just a guaranteed expense that is just constant, right? And then what I usually list is my purchase list, and I break them down into different categories. So there will be another document, maybe like another tab or so that says like credit card transactions. I'll categorize them and put them into the particular bins. Now, then lastly, this is going to be the bank accounts that I ultimately have and the numbers that are associated. So that way I know what's in all bank accounts, whether it be personal, business, whatever it is. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, well, guess what, Jonathan? There are services that are like that could do this for you for free or for a small fee, whatever it is. I don't really care. I don't really care because this is just the way that I think it makes sense to me. I've used all of the platforms. I've used Mint. I've used Quicken, QuickBooks, and for the business, Penji specifically uses a third-party company and software and et cetera like that does a lot of that for the company. However, for myself, I just find this so much easier to understand, and I have a little bit more control over it. I think a lot of those services can be really good and can be really strong, but I like to just do it manually. It takes me a little bit more time, but I understand the money and the going ins and the going outs. So overall, it's just more digestible for me. But everybody's different, and that should be okay. But this is ultimately how I use the finance sheet to track everything. And then from there, it's just I feel like once you understand your finances, what's coming in, what's going out, what your profit margins are, you really start to make more strategic decisions, and you really start to understand the needs of the business, right? You can ultimately find a way to hire your first employee. You can find a way to outsource, whatever it may be. But you really start to have a little bit more leverage once you understand the numbers. So yeah, this is the master list, at least part of it, and the finance piece specifically. Let's dive in a little bit deeper, right? So now we have all-time data. We have all-time data specifically, and again, this is fully transparent. What is being sent, how it's being done. There are somewhere around 1,000 emails that are being sent. Now, all of this has been removed out just because, to be honest with you, I haven't gotten around to it, and that's not really the point of this particular video. But I have all-time data here, so that way I can get a better understanding of January, February, and each month in between. In addition to that, there's also a weekly data sheet, which allows me the ability to get a better understanding of what's happening in the course of each month. Now, there's also scripts. So how are the scripts doing? What was sent? What wasn't sent? There are also leads. There are also top. So top is essentially what are the most important people that I need to talk to, and then of course there are local prospects. People that I want to try and get business from. And what I find really interesting about this is the following. The positioning of everything. I can copy and paste pretty much every single sheet that I ever want. In addition to that, there's also the email date. Now, what does that mean? If I send an email to this person, right, I'm going to put the date here. Now, what about the LinkedIn? If I need the LinkedIn, I take the LinkedIn and I put the words not connected into it. That essentially means to me that I submitted a form to this submitted a friend request to this person on LinkedIn. They have not connected with me just yet, so I put not connected. And if they do connect, well, guess what? I'm going to put the very specific date that they not only connect, but also the very specific date that I sent them a message. This more or less is the entire master list, and it allows pretty much anyone and everyone to be a part of it, and allows everyone and everyone to add on to it to make it better. And same goes here for Weather Vane's Notion. You know, there's a lot of things here that you can review. What is Weather Vane, and so on and so forth, and company goals. It's just such an easy way to be able to just indicate what it is that you're looking for, how it's supposed to be done. I can go into very specific details about, say, free ideas, where it'll tell me a little bit more about the content calendar, the master list. Again, free ideas has its own master list, brand folders. And so again, like, I could share information very easily. This is more or less kind of like a promotion for not only Notion, but also Google Drive. I mean, this is how, for the most part, every business is ran. And it doesn't have to be that complex either. It just has to work for you. And for my brain, personally, this is what works really well for me. So I hope that this was helpful. Good luck, guys.